Mishra's family, the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The next day, festival of Jagannath Mishra is happening. So today we will continue our celebration of the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is very nice to dwell because he is the most munificent incarnation of all, descended to this material world to deliver all of us by having a simple process, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He didn't write any books. He just write 8 stanzas, which call as Sistastika. And that Sistastika is glorifying the holy name, nothing else, and showing the ultimate stage that we can attain if we sincerely follow the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who descended in the age of Kali in the role of a devotee, he is showing us practically. Krishna is so kind. When he left, after performing the wonderful Braj pastimes, he thought that I mentioned to everybody that surrender to me, but actually I have forgotten to show them the way how to surrender to me. So he came. There are so many reasons, external and internal. In chapter 3, Nadi Lila is explained the external reason, and chapter 4 describe the internal reasons for appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He appeared on what we now call Gur Purnima, in the evening of the full moon day in the month of Falgun. At that time there was a lunar eclipse, and as was the tradition, as recommended in scripture, the Hindus immersed themselves in the Ganga and chanted the holy names. Eclipses are considered inauspicious, and to counteract the inauspiciousness, strict follower of Vedic scriptures stand in a sacred body of water, river, kund or lake, or the sea and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So from the very beginning, Lord Chaitanya was surrounded by the chanting of the Hare Krishna, and he induced the people to chant Hare Krishna more and more. We should never feel satisfied chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because when we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that's the most joyful event in our life and day. So Advaita Acharya Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, the senior than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dance in ecstasy. And on the plea of giving charity to Brahmanas on the occasion of the eclipse, Advaita Acharya and others distributed various gifts, and all the devotees were jubilant. That's the result of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And they dance, perform Sankirtan, and give charity. The whole world was full of auspiciousness, and everyone was filled with transcendental bliss just by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It said, Nadya Udaya Giri Purna Chandra Gaura Hari Kripa Kari Haila Udaya Papatama Haila Nas Tri Jagatera Vilas Jag Bhari Hari Dhwani Hai. Thus by his causeless mercy, the full moon Gaura Hari rose in the district of Nadia, which is compared to Udayagiri, where the sun first becomes visible. His rising in the sky dissipated the darkness of sinful life, and thus the three worlds become joyful and chanted the holy name of Lord. Chaitanya Charitamrita Lila chapter 13 describes wonderful in detail. 1398. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a baby, sometime he would cry, and elder would try to pacify him in different ways, as people do when a baby cries. They want to make them comfortable by doing different things. They would try to comfort him, distract him, and please him. But nothing worked with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Nimai. Soon they discovered that if they chanted the holy name of Krishna, he would become peaceful and stop crying. This is the sign of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Most of the people, if you ask them what you want to achieve in their life, mostly the answer comes, they want to live a peaceful life and happy life. This is the solution. Then wherever he would cry, they would chant, and he would immediately become happy. His appearance itself inspired chanting, and his activity thereafter inspired more chanting. Saikale Nijalaya Uthiya Advaitaraya Nritya Kare Anandita Mune Haridas Lana Sange Hankara Kirtana Range Kene Nache Keha Nahi Jane. At that time, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu in his own house at Santipur was dancing in pleasing mood, taking Haridas Thakur with him. He danced and loudly chanted Hare Krishna. But why they were dancing? No one could understand. Adi Lila 1399. By his divine will, Krishna arranged for his associate from Goloka Vrindavan to come to earth to join him in his pastime as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Some associate played the part of elders, and they took birth before he did. Advaita Acharya and Haridas Thakur were elders, and they themselves were friends. In fact, Advaita Acharya is non-different than Mahavishnu. And who is the Haridas Thakur? Our Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma is a disciple and a direct servant of Mahavishnu. So it's a natural that they became so close to each other. When the news spread that Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata had given birth to a baby boy, all sorts of respectable brahmanas, gentlemen and ladies came with gifts and blessed the newborn child. So if you have not yet given the gift on the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, today is the day to do it. Even wives of the demigod came disguised as the wives of brahmanas and presented various gifts. Thus, the day after the Purnima, there was a great celebration at Jagannath Mishra's home. And that day is observed today as the festival of Jagannath Mishra, or the feast of Jagannath Mishra. Because to celebrate the birth of his son, he received various visitors and well-wishers and gave presentations to them all. And at the end, they all feasted. So we shall read today during the daytime, whenever we have time, the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila, at least chapter 13, the advent of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, beginning with the chapter summary that will give us the essence. The 13th chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita would describe Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance as follows. A learned Brahmana named Upendra Mishra who resided in the district of Srihata, was the father of Jagannath Mishra, who came to Navadvip to study under the direction of Nilambara Chakrabarti and then settled there after marrying Nilambara Chakrabarti's daughter, Sachi Devi. Sachi Devi gave birth to 8 children, all daughters, who died one after another immediately after birth. After her 9th pregnancy, she gave a birth to a son who was named Vishwarup. Then in 1407, Shak era AD 1486, on the full moon evening of the month of Falgun, during the constellation of Simha, Leo on the horizon, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as the son of Sri Sachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra. And after hearing of the birth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, learned scholars and brahmanas, bringing many gifts, came to see the newborn baby. Nilambara Chakrabarti, who was a great astrologer, immediately prepared a horoscope, and by astrological calculation he saw that the child was a great personality. And this chapter describes the symptoms of this great personality. So we can see the resemblance between the pastime of Lord Chaitanya and those of Lord Krishna. In Mathura, Lord Krishna's parent, Vasudeva and Devaki, first had 6 sons, all of whom were killed by Kamsa. And their 7th child was Balram. But by the arrangement of the Yogamaya, under Krishna's direction, Balram was transformed from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini in Vrindavan. Thus, Devaki appeared to have had a miscarriage. And the 8th child was Krishna. Vasudeva did not want Kamsa to kill or try to kill Krishna. And by Yogamaya influence, all the guards in Kamsa's prison fell asleep, and all the locked doors opened. And Vasudeva then carried baby Krishna across the Yamuna to Gokul. And there he found that Yashoda had given birth to a baby girl. But she was so exhausted from the labor of childbirth that she didn't know if she had given birth to a son or a daughter. Vasudeva placed baby Krishna on Yashoda's bed, picked up her daughter, and carried her back to Kamsa's prison in Mathura. And as soon as the baby girl was placed in the prison room with Vasudeva and Devaki, she began to cry. And Kamsa concluded that Devaki had given birth to a daughter. Earlier on the occasion of Devaki's wedding, Kamsa had heard a voice from the sky, Akaswani, that said that the 8th son of Devaki would kill him. And this child was a girl. But Kamsa was such a demon, surrounded also by such demoniac advisors, that he thought, let me not take any chance. He snatched the baby to dash her on a rock and kill her, as he had killed the other 6 children. But she slipped from his hand and flew into the sky, manifesting her form as the goddess Durga, and said, you fool, the person who will kill you has already taken birth somewhere else. And this is a striking statement. Person who will kill you has already taken birth elsewhere. And because from the account so far, Krishna has taken birth in Kamsa's prison in Mathura. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has quoted by Srila Prabhupada cites evidence from within Srimad Bhagavatam and from other Puranas, such as Harivamsa, that Yashoda gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. And the girl was an expansion of Yogamaya, and the boy was the original Krishna. And when Vasudev carried Vasudev Krishna to Gokul, the Vasudev Krishna entered into the original Krishna, was born through the Yashodamai. And Vasudev carried the baby girl back to Mathura. What a wonderful narration. No wonder why Krishna has chosen the Nanda Baba and Yashodamai as their parents. Here in Chaitanya Lila, we find that Sachi Devi gave birth to 8 daughters and that all of them died. Then finally she gave birth to a son, Vishwarup. At an early age, Vishwarup left home and took sannyas. And so for all material purposes, he was dead. Srila Prabhupada said that sannyas means civil death. The day on which Vishwarup took sannyas is called Vishwarup Mahatva Te, same day on which Srila Prabhupada took sannyas some 400 years later. In any case, it was a great occasion that Sachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra had given birth to a boy, and all the devotees from the area, such as Advaita Acharya and his wife Sita Devi, Srivas Thakur and his wife Malini, came and brought gifts and offered blessings to the new child. So we shall read some verses and purport. Text 100, chapter 13, Adi Lila. Dekhi uparagha hasi, shigra ganga ghate asi, anande karila ganga snan, pana uparanga chale, apnara manobale, brahma nere dilanana dana. Translation: seeing the lunar eclipse and laughing, both Advaita Acharya and Haridas Thakur immediately went to the bank of Ganga and bathed in the Ganga in great jubilations. Taking advantage of the occasion of the lunar eclipse, Advaita Acharya, by his own mental strength, distributed various types of charity to the Brahmanas. And Prabhupada writes the purport that it is the custom of Hindu to give in charity to the poor as much as possible during the time of a lunar or the solar eclipse. Advaita Acharya, therefore, taking advantage of the eclipse, distributed many varieties of charities to the Brahmanas. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a statement in the 10th canto, 3rd chapter, verse 11, that when Krishna took his birth, Vasudev immediately took advantage of this moment, distributed 10,000 cows to the Brahmanas. It is customary among Hindus that at the time a child is born, especially a male child, the parent distribute great charity in jubilation. Now we are so poor, we cannot do those things anymore. Advaita Acharya was actually interested in distributing charity because of Lord Chaitanya's birth at the time of the lunar eclipse. People could not understand, however, why Advaita Acharya was giving such a great variety of things in charity. He did so not because of the lunar eclipse, but because of the Lord's taking birth. At that moment, he distributed charity exactly as Vasudev did at the time of Lord Krishna's appearance. So in Vedic culture, householders observe all auspicious ceremonies by giving in charity. This is how we should celebrate. They are happy and they know they are happy by the grace of the Lord and the devotees. Some of the devotees didn't join today. So I write, why you are sleeping? Do you think that we are going to see the today's sunset? What is the guarantee? But we are sleeping, hoping we make so many plans how to make a better arrangement for our life when we don't know that we will be see the sunset. So much illusion. Let's see. And in their happiness, they want to give charity and receive more blessings. When the children become adults and observe their own birth anniversaries, they also give charity. This is a nice way to celebrate the birthday. A friend of the different temples in the Vedic traditions did not like that we celebrated birthday by giving present to the birthday boy or the girl. But we always had the cake and everything, and we should distribute the Mahaprasadam as so many families in Houston yesterday sponsor. So text 101. Jagat Anandamaya Dekhi Mane Sa Vismaya Thare Thore Kahe Haridas Tomara Eichana Ranga Mora Man Prasanna Dekhi Kichu Kariye Ache Bhas. Translation. When he saw that the whole world was jubilant, Haridas Thakur, his mind astonished, directly and indirectly expressed himself to Advaita Acharya. Your dancing and distributing charity are very pleasing to me. I can understand that there is some special purpose in these actions. Haribol. Text 102. Acharya Ratna Srivas Haila Mane Sukhollasa Yai Snana Kaila Gange Jale Anande Vivala Mana Kare Hari Sankirtana Nana Dana Kaila Mano Baje Bale. Translation. Acharya Ratna, Chandrasekhar and Srivas Thakur were overwhelmed with joy. And immediately they went to the bank of Ganga to take bath in the water of the Ganga. And their minds full of happiness, they chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and give charity by mental strength. Text 103. Ei mata bhakta tati yandra ei deshe sthiti tahan panamano bale nache kare sankirtan ananda vihvala mana dana kare grahane rachale. Translation. In this way, all these devotees, wherever they were situated, in every city and every country, dance, perform Sankirtan, and give charity by mental strength on the plea of the lunar eclipse. Their mind overwhelmed with joy. Tax 104. Brahmana Sajjana Nari Nana Dravye Thali Bhari Aila Sabe Yukutala Lila Yena Kancha Sona Dyuti Dekhi Balakera Murti Asirvad Kare Shukhapana. Translation. All sorts of respectable Brahmanas, gentlemen and ladies, carrying plates filled with various gifts, came with their presentations. Seeing the newborn child, whose form resembled natural glaring gold, all of them, with happiness, offered their blessings. Text 105. Savitri Gauri Saraswati Sachi Rambha Arundhati Arayata Deva Narigana Nana Dravye Patra Bhari Brahmanira Vesadhari Asi Sabe Kare Darsana. Translation. Dressing themselves as the wives of Brahmanas, all the celestial ladies, including the wives of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Nrsingadev, King Indra, and Vasishtha Muni, along with Rambha, a dancing girl of heaven, came there with various gifts. Purport. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a newly born baby, he was visited by neighboring ladies, most of whom were the wives of respectable Brahmanas. In the dress of Brahmana's wife, celestial ladies like the wives of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva also came to see the newborn child. Ordinary people saw them as neighborhood respectable Brahmanas ladies, but actually they were all celestial ladies dressed in that way. Savitri is the wife of Lord Brahma. Gauri is the wife of Lord Shiva. Saraswati here is mentioned as the wife of Lord Nrsingadev. And Sachi is the wife of King Indra. They all disguise themselves as Brahmanas ladies, looking like ladies of the neighborhood, and came to offer respect to the newborn baby. Text 106. Antarikshe Devagana Gandharva Siddha Charana Stuli Nrutya Kare Vadya Gita Nartaka Vadaka Bhata Navadvipe Yaranata Shabe Asi Nache Panaprita. Translation. In outer space, all these demigods, including the inhabitants of Gandharva-loka, Siddha-loka, and Charana-loka, offer their prayers and dance with musical songs and beating of drums. Similarly, in Navadvipa city, all the professional dancers, musicians, and blessers gather together, dancing in great jubilations. So, Bhata means professional blessings gives. Purport. As there are professional singers, dancer, and reciter of the prayers in the heavenly planets, so in India still there are professional dancers, givers of blessings, and singers, all of whom assemble together during householder ceremonies, especially marriages and birth ceremonies. These professional men earn their livelihood by taking charity on such occasions from the homes of the Hindus, and choose also take advantage of such ceremonies to receive charity. That is their means of livelihood. Such men never become servants or engage themselves in agriculture or business occupations. They simply take charity from neighborhood friends to maintain themselves peacefully. The Bhattas are a class of Brahmins who go to such ceremonies to offer blessings by composing poems with reference to the Vedic scripture. You know, our Vedic culture is very beautiful and highly elevated. Even now in India, the culture is there, but we are losing every moment due to the Western influence. I was just chatting with a very nice um, uh, our dear Papa Hari's cousin, uh, and she was very kind when we went to Mayapur. That she took us to different places and engaged us in the devotional service. At the Narsimapalli, we make a garland. She took the flowers and she said, Prabhu, please make this garland. We make a long garland and every one of us string some flowers on that garland. Very nice. So she just sent me some pictures of the Jagannath temple in Mayapur. And she said that she has stitched those clothes and like that. So I was really impressed with her devotion. She's a very nice girl. Maybe we can call her over here in Houston as a pujari. Haribo. Uh, you know, Giriraj Swami Maharaj, he's relating one story that when Maharaj was in Bombay, he visited an old friend, a very nice devotee, who is related to Billas. And it just so happened that there was an engagement ceremony in the Birla family. And from the mother's side, Sri Brijaratan Mahatta had married Seth Adi Birla's daughter. And their son's daughter was becoming engaged. So Maharaj went to the engagement receptions, and there Maharaj met the bhajan singer named Purushottam Das Jalota. And when Giriraj Maharaj went to India first time in 1970, he was very popular. So he would sing bhajans in aristocratic Hindus' homes and give lessons in voice and harmoniums. And as he grew older, his son, as happens, became his apprentice and also began to sing bhajans and play harmonium. So we invited his son, who was relatively unknown then, to perform at the auditorium in Juhu. And at the engagement reception, Purushottam approached Giriraj Swami Maharaj. And he is about 87 now. This is like 4 or 5 years ago, so maybe 91 if he is living. And he was wearing a traditional Hindu jacket and cap. And after Maharaj spoke for some time, he made an indication and said, Anup is there. And he tried to call him, but because his voice was not so loud, his son Anup could not hear him. So Giriraj Swami Maharaj said, that's all right. I will go and see him. I guess the father wanted me to bless and encourage his son. So Anup remembered his first performance in the ISKCON auditorium. And Maharaj said that he didn't usually attend such performances, but somehow that evening toward the end of the performance, Maharaj fell down into the auditorium. And Maharaj found a seat toward the back and sat down. And the whole atmosphere had been surcharged, can't explain, can't explain it, and he had sung with such devotion that his words and voice has entered people's mind and hearts. Haribo. You know the phrase that I come across the other day, that the words coming out from the mouth will enter in the ear, one ear, and it will leave the other ear. But if the words has come out from the hearts, it will touch whoever listens those words into their hearts. So it had been a very special performance, and the devotees has recorded it and produced on the audio cassette that they would distribute on the Sankirtan. Sankirtan, it had become a hit, and many people would come and ask for Anup Jalota's name. He's a famous singer now. So Maharaj says that when he met Anup at the receptions, Maharaj remembered that night. He said that when he had entered the auditorium, he had not been sure whether or not he would pursue a career as a singer. He had prayed, Lord Krishna, that I'm yours. Whatever you want, you can do. If you want me to pursue this career, you can make me a success. And if you don't, that's all right. Whatever you wish. And Anup remarked at that time that it was because of his performance in the ISKCON auditorium and the recording of it that he had become a success as a singer. So this was Anup Jalota's journey. Wonderful, the Maharaj has shared. That culture and that mood are becoming rare, that mood of devotion, of surrender and dependence on the Lord, but they are still there. So now we will return to the description of Jagannath Mishra's festival. Text 107. Kebe ase kebe yaya, kebe nacha kebe gaya, संभलिते नरे करा बोला खांडले का दुख शोका प्रमोद पुरिता लोका मिश्रा हैला आनंद विहार वाला. Translation. No one could understand who was coming and who was going, who was dancing and who was singing, nor could they understand one another's language. Yet all unhappiness and lamentations were immediately dissipated, and people become all jubilant. Thus Jagannath Mishra was also overwhelmed with joy. This is the effect of the Sankirtana. We have not yet realized what the holy name can give us. That's our misfortune. Text 108. Acharya Ratna Shivas Jagannatha Mishra Pas Asi Tanre Kare Shwadhan Karila Jata Karma Ya Achila Vidhi Dharma Tabe Mishra Kare Nanadana. Haribol. Translation. Chandrasekhar Acharya and Srivas Thakur both came to Jagannath Mishra and drew his attention in various ways. They performed the ritualistic ceremonies prescribed at the time of birth according to religious principles. And Jagannath Mishra also gave varieties of charity. Text 109. Yautuka पहिले यता घरे व अचिला कथा श्रब धन विप्रे दिला धन यत नर्तका गयना भत अकिंचिना जन धन दिया कैला सबना मना. Translation. Whatever riches Jagannath Mishra collected in the form of gifts and presentations, And whatever he had in his house, he distributed among the Brahmanas, professional singers, dancers, bhattas, and the poor. He honored them all by giving them riches in charity. They have full faith, so they can give everything in charity. We cannot give even 10% because we are so miser that we think by giving we are going to lose. But actually, this liberated personality is showing the example to us as you give. And we can see that, Prabhupada has said and predicted that the Tata and Birla family will never deprived of the money. And we see that they are multi-millionaire. Still they give more than 50% in charity goes. That's proves that giving money to the good cause in Krishna's service, you never lose the money. Actually, Krishna wants to show our dedication, actually, to glorify his devotees. That look, this devotee is giving 50%. He wants to give the glorification, and that devotee will never deprived of the money. Haribol. Text 110. Shiva Sera Brahmani Nama Tandra Malini Acharya Ratnera Patni Sange Shindura Haridra Taila Khai Kala Narikela Diya Puje Narigana Range. Translation. The wife of Shiva's Thakur, whose name was Malini, accompanied by the wife of Chandrasekhar, Acharya Ratna, and other ladies, came there in great happiness to worship the baby with paraphernalia such as vermilion, turmeric, oil, fused rice, bananas, and lots of coconuts. Purport. Vermilion, khai, fused rice, bananas, coconuts, and turmeric mixed with oil are all auspicious gifts for such a ceremony. So this is the hint what you should take. As there is a puffed rice, so there is another preparation of rice called khai or fused rice, which along with bananas is taken as a very auspicious presentations. Also turmeric mixed with oil and vermilion makes an auspicious ointment that is smeared over the body of a newborn baby or a person who is going to marry. So this is the ingredient if you don't know. These are all auspicious activities in family affairs. We see that 500 years ago, at the birth of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all these ceremonies were performed rigidly. But at present, such ritualistic performance hardly ever take place. Have we seen that somebody give whatever the gift they receive, they distribute, they don't keep it, and they spend all their wealth distributing. So we haven't seen that that's correct, what our Acharya says. Generally, a pregnant mother is sent to the hospital, and as soon as her child is born, he is washed with an antiseptic, and this concludes everything. So the parent and the other elders did whatever they could to ensure the well-being of the child in all respects. They knew that the purpose of the child's life was to serve and please God, and that the child's success in all respects depended on the mercy of God and his devotees. What a nice verse to remember. Text 110, chapter 13 of Adi Lila. Text 111. Advaita Acharya Bhariya Jagat Pujita Arya Nama Tandra Shrita Thakurani Acharya Ajanapana Gila Upharalana Dekhite Bakaka Siromani. Translation. One day, shortly after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, Advaita Acharya's wife, Sita Devi, who is worshipable by the whole world, took her husband's permission and went to see the topmost chow with all kind of gifts and presentations. Purport. It appears that Advaita Acharya had two different houses, one at Santipur and one at Navdvip. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, Advaita Acharya was residing not at his Navdvip house but at his Santipur house. Therefore, as formally explained in text 99, from Advaita's old paternal house, Nijalaya in Santipur, Sita Devi came to Navdvip to present gifts to the newborn child, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 112. Suvarnera Kadibalyuli Rajatamudra Pashuli Suvarnera Angada Kankana Dubahute Divya Sankha Rajatera Malbanka Swarna Mudra Nana Haragana. Translation. She bought different kinds of golden ornaments, including armlets, necklaces. Not just one, see, it's all plural, including armlets, necklaces, anklets, and bangles for the hands. That shows how the people were so rich. Haribol. Text 113. Vyagra Nakha Hena Jadi Kati Pasat Sutra Dhori Hasta Papedera Yata Avarana Chitra Varna Patasadi Buni Photo Patapadi Swarna Rupya Mudra Bahudhana. Translation. There were also tiger nails set in gold, waist decoration of silk and lace, ornaments for the hands and legs, nicely printed silken saris, and a chawl's garment, also made of silk. Many other riches, including gold and silver coins, were also presented to the chawl. Purport. From the gift presented by Srila Thakurani, Sita Thakurani, Advaita Acharya's wife, it appears that Advaita Acharya was at that time a very rich man. Although Brahmanas are not the rich men of society, Advaita Acharya, being the leader of the Brahmanas in Santipur, was considerably well-to-do. Therefore, he presented many ornaments to the baby, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Kamal Kanta was asking for 300 rupees from the king of Jagannath Puri. Maharaj Prataparudra, on the plea that Advaita Acharya was in debt for that amount, indicate that such a rich man who could present many valuable ornaments, saris, etc., thought it's difficult to repay 300 rupees. Therefore, the value of a rupees at that time was many thousands of times what it is now. At present, no one feels difficulty over a debt of 300 rupees, nor can an ordinary man accumulate such valuable ornaments to present to a friend's son. Probably the value of 300 rupees at that time was equal to the present value of 30,000 rupees. That is when the Chaitanya Charitamrita was written. Comment. And the present value of the 30,000 rupees now is probably 300,000 rupees or more. Haribo. Tax 114, 116. Riding in a palanquin covered with cloth and accompanied by maidservants, Sita Thakurani came to the house of Jagannath Mishra, bringing with her many auspicious articles such as fresh grass, paddy, gurochana, turmeric, kumkum, and sandalwood. All these presentations filled a large basket. And when Sita Thakurani came to the house of Sachi Devi, bringing with her many kinds of eatables, dresses, and other gifts, she was astonished to see the newborn child, for she appreciated that except for a difference in color, the child was directly Krishna of Gokul himself. Seeing the transcendental bodily effulgence of the child, each of his nicely contracted limbs full of auspicious sign and resembling a form of gold, Sita Thakurani was very pleased, and because of her maternal affection, she felt as if her heart were melting by seeing the form. What a beautiful narration has been given. Wonderful. Text 117. Durva Dangai Dan Dhanya Dila Shirse Kaila Bahu Aise Chirajivi Hau Dui Bhai Dakini Sankini Haite Shanka Upajila Chite Dare Namu Thuila Nimai. Translation. She blessed the newborn child by placing fresh grass and paddy on his head and saying, "May you be blessed with a long duration of life." But being afraid of ghosts and witches, she gave the child the name Nimai. Purport. Dakini and Sankini are two companions of Lord Shiva and his wife, who are supposed to be extremely inauspicious. Having been born of ghostly life, it is believed that such inauspicious living creatures cannot go near a neem tree. So at least medically it is accepted that the neem wood is extremely antiseptic. And formerly it was customary to have a neem tree in front of one's house. Wonderful. You know, when I was very child and we used to have the cow and the buffaloes, my father used to have. So all this cow dung we were storing. You know, they dig the big hole and then just keep on throwing. And then at the end of the year, they will take all this cow dung to spread in the field where they have the farming done. So somehow or other, I don't know whatever the reason, but I planted the neem tree right at the age of that where we used to store the cow dung, and you won't believe the tree grew like anything. And in the summer, we used to just sit down underneath the tree, and we never felt any heat. The tree was wonderful. Then I visited my back home, and I see that they made some changes in that, and the tree is no longer there. I practically cried not to see that wonderful tree who gave me so much peace and cooling breeze in my childhood so many years. It was growing and it was so green and it was growing like anything because all the roots can get this cow dung right close to that. Haribo. Now we cannot have anything. I think that I am looking for that maybe I can plant it. This may give me the impetus to remember my childhood. I will look for the neem tree now. I need to have in my house. Haribo. And also medically, it's very nice for the who has the diabetic. If they can drink that neem juice every morning, the diabetes will no longer be there. So on very large roads in India, especially in Uttar Pradesh, there are hundreds and thousands of neem trees. Neem wood is so antiseptic that the Ayurvedic science uses it to cure leprosy even. Medical scientists have extracted the active principle of the neem tree, which is called margosic acid. Neem used for many purposes, especially to brush the teeth. In Indian villages, 90% of the people use neem twigs for this purpose. And because all of the antiseptic effect of the neem tree, and because Lord Chaitanya was born beneath a neem tree, Sita Thakurani gave the Lord the name Nimai. Later in his youth, he was celebrated as Nimai Pandit, and the neighborhood villages he was called by that name, although his real name was Vishwambar. Vishwambar means one who maintains the universe. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 9.7 describe how Lord Chaitanya appreciated that name. Prabhu kahe ami Vishwambara namadhari nama sarthaka haya yadi preme Vishwabhari. Lord Chaitanya thought, my name is Vishwambar, one who maintains the entire universe. Its meaning will be actualized if I can fill the whole universe with love of Godhead. Haribol. In my childhood and youth, my dentist was a family friend who had served in India during World War II. And as he worked on my teeth, he would tell me about his experiences in India as a dentist in the American Army. He remarked that he always saw the native Indians squatting along the roads, brushing their teeth with twigs. As part of his work, he would treat Indians too. And he said that when he looked into their mouths, he was astonished to see the most beautiful white teeth he had ever seen, and without any cavities. And all these people did was brush their teeth with the neem twigs. Everyone should now get convinced and plant this neem tree. So beneficial. Rather using this different paste which breaks nothing but the pain and cavity. We are so weak in all respect. Look at this. The natural way of life was so beautiful. They don't need any doctors. Krishna has given us all the medicines. But we forgot our culture and we take shelter of this greatly advanced technology, ruining our life actually. Text 118. Putra mata snana dine, dila vastra vibhushane, putra shaha misrere samani, sachi misrera pujalana, manyate Hari Sahana, Gare Aila Sita Thakurani. Translation. On the day the mother and son bathed and left the maternity home, Sita Thakurani gave birth. Now, Sita Thakurani gave them all kinds of ornaments and garments, and then also honored Jagannath Mishra. Then Sita Thakurani, being honored by Mother Sachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra, was greatly happy within her mind, and thus she returned home very jubilantly, completely satisfied. I hope that everybody celebrated the Gaur Purnima. When they went home, they feel the same feeling. Purport. On the 5th day from the birth of a child, as also on the 9th day, the mother bathes either in the Ganga or in another sacred place. This is called Niskramana, or the ceremony of coming out of the maternity home. Nowadays, the maternity home is a hospital, but formerly in every respectable house, one room was set aside as a maternity home where children would take birth. And on the 9th day after the birth of a child, the mother would come into the regular rooms in the ceremony called Niskramana. Of the 10 purificatory processes, Niskramana is one. Formally, especially in Bengal, the higher caste observes 4 months after the birth of a child as a quarantine. We don't do the quarantine. But when that, what is that? I forgot that. What is that vaccine they call 19? I forgot the name even. Haribol. What is the disease came recently? I forgot the name. Anybody can say?
COVID.
COVID-19. Yes, yes. So then COVID-19 teaches quarantine, but we don't want to follow our cultural quarantine. What a bad, every respect, we lose so many things. When we read this thing, when we talk to elderly person in India, the way they were living, I was just thinking, I was telling at the Clear Lake Home program, look at the richness that our forefather, I never saw my father in anxiety, even though he was earning 3 rupees a month, having 5 children, raising, giving them education. 8 months of a year they were on the vacation. Only during the rainy season they do that crop, and whatever it come, they used to live the life. And that's the reason when that marriage ceremony comes, the close relative used to go there and stay there for a month. That's the richness of the life. Now you can't even afford to stay even 3 days in the marriage. And we call ourselves advanced. Haribol. Somehow or other Prabhupada has the vision that this citizen will become fed up one day by paying the higher taxations, that they will realize that this is not the way to live our life. We have become, and totally, government has made us useless. We are dependent on everything where we can live a happy life. And that's why Prabhupada has the vision to create a natural way of life where people can completely depend on God. No dependency on any advancement. And my Guru Maharaj told me that, but And my Guru Maharaj was very practical. He told me that we made so many mistakes, you know, like in the farm in the Oklahoma, 1,300 acres. But the management didn't do the diligence and they have to give up that farm. But the purpose was that to show the mass of people like us that there is a way to live a different way of life, very peaceful way, completely satisfied. And I think my Guru Maharaj told me that don't go unless and until you have all the parameters set for it. And he told me minimum 50 family should be ready to live the simple life. Not that you bought the farm 50 mile away from the Houston and people will take that lot and build their home and come to Houston to work and maintain their life. What is the use of that farm? He said they should completely disconnect from the outside material world. And he told me detail that have a valve and the bullock, like the chain of the buckets, and the bullock will go round and the bucket will bring all the waters for agriculture, have that hand pump, to have the water come out, valves. Even he says that they grow the castor oil plant. And then from the seed with the bullock cart, you crush it and make the oil to use for the lamps. Totally natural way of life. And it says in Bhagavatam that days are ahead of us. We cannot continue living artificially like this for long. And it may happen soon. So Prabhupada has the vision, but we need to become convinced about the word of Prabhupada. There was a very nice somebody sent me. Oh, I send it today on our WhatsApp group that just read my books and set some good example in the life. Everybody is living their life. If we are gonna, as a devotee, is gonna do the same thing as the materialistic people do, what is the difference between the devotees and the normal civilians? I think we should take it seriously if he wants to become happy and completely satisfied in our life. So it's over here. Let's continue about the quarantine. Literally, we just went in other directions. Bring it back. So at the end of the 4th month of the quarantine, the mother could see the sunrise. Later, the higher caste, namely the Brahmanas, Kshatriya, and the Vaishyas, observe only 21 days as a quarantine, whereas the Sudras has to observe 30 days. For the section of the society known as Krutabhaj and Satima, the mother of the child was immediately purified after the quarantine by the throwing of harinuta, small pieces of sweet meat, in Sankirtana. Sachidevi and Jagannath Mishra with the newborn child were honored by Sita Thakurani. Similarly, while Sita Thakurani was returning home, she was also honored by Sachidevi and Jagannath Mishra. That was the system in respectable families of Bengal. So can we call ourselves a respectable gentleman? I don't think so. We are fallen than the Sudras. So Srila Prabhupada was also born in a separate house under the jackfruit tree that belonged to his mother's parents. And Giriraj Maharaj is saying that the last November, whenever he was speaking, His Holiness Radhanath Swami and Giriraj Maharaj visited that place in South Calcutta, saw the tree under which Srila Prabhupada was born, and visited the Radha Krishna temple that his mother frequented, imagining how she and the rest of the family must have prayed for the welfare of the new child, whom they named Abhisharan, one who is totally fearless, having taken shelter of Lord Krishna's lotus feet. So we are putting so much importance to children education, everything, but what we really need to give, we are missing the whole point. We are looking for the great university just to make us, our sons and daughters, atheists. They don't allow you even to make a prayer of God. And that's where we want to send the children. These societies destroying everything. Change is required. Text 119. ऐचे सची जगन्नाथ पुत्रपना लक्ष्म मीनाथ पूर्ण ही ईला शकला वंचिता धन धान्ये भरे घर लोकमान्य कलेवरा दीने दीने हया आनंदिता. I think this verse is wonderful. Translation. In this way, Mother Sachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra, having obtained a son who was the husband of the goddess of fortune, had all the desires fulfilled. Who can claim that all the desire has been fulfilled? Their house was always filled with riches and grains. As they saw the beloved body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, day after day, the pleasure increased. So we can have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu deity and worship them with full heart. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, everyone offered respect to him. Even though the atheists may think that they are not following, but Krishna says very clearly in Bhagavad Gita, Ye atha mam prapatyante tam tatami brajamiham. Mama vartanu vartante manushya partha sarvasa. Everyone is following rules and regulations, but with force, because we don't want to accept voluntarily. So Krishna has to force us. Hari Bol. So Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality Godhead. Therefore, everyone offered respect to him. Even the denizens of the heaven used to come in the dress of ordinary man to offer their respect to the Lord. His mother and father, Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi, seeing the honor of their transcendental son, also became very pleased within their own hearts. Mishra Vaishnava Santa Alampata Suddha Danta Dhan Bhoge Nahi Abhi Mana Putrera Prabhave Yata Dhana Asi Mile Tata Vishnu Prite Dvije Dena Dana. Translation. Jagannath Mishra was an ideal Vaishnava. He was peaceful, restrained in sense gratification, pure and controlled. Therefore, he had no desire to enjoy material opulence. Whatever money came, because of the influence of his transcendental son, he gave it in charity to the Brahmanas for the satisfaction of Vishnu. What a fatherly life he is exhibiting. Lagna Gani Harsha Mati Nilambara Chakravarti Gupte Kichu Kahile Mishritre Mahaprabhu Shera Chihna Lage Anga Bhinna Bhinna Dekhi Yataribe Sansare. Translation. After calculating the birth moment of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nilamara Chakravarti, father of Sachimata, privately said to Jagannath Mishra, his son-in-law, that he saw all the different symptoms of a great personality in both the body and birth movement of the child. Thus, he understood that in the future this child would deliver all the three worlds if someone can take complete shelter of his instructions. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had all the signs of a great personality and was in fact the supreme personality of Godhead, his father Jagannath Mishra considered him to be his son. As a child, Jagannath Mishra wanted to know what was the nature of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He asked Jagannath Mishra, "You do not know anything about your son. Because you think him to be your son, you rebuke and chastise him." Jagannath Mishra replied, "He may be a demigod, a mystic yogi, or a great saint. But whatever he may be, I know him only as my son. And it is my duty to teach him religion and morality." Very instructive message. This is the duty of a father, not to give a high education. Otherwise, how will he learn? Even if he is Lord Narayan himself, it is the duty of the father to instruct the son. Even in his dreams, Jagannath Mishra was absorbed in the mellow of pure parental affections. In his youth, Lord Chaitanya asked an astrologer to tell him who he was in his past life. Through calculation and meditation, the astrologer saw the brilliantly effulgent form of the Lord as the resting place of the Vaikuntha planets. Struck with wonder, he said, "In your previous birth, you were the shelter of all creation, the supreme personality of Godhead, full of all opulences. And you are the same personality of Godhead now." Lord Chaitanya smiled and said, "I think you do not know very clearly who I was. For I know that in my previous birth, I was a cowherd boy. I was born in a family of a cowherd man and gave protection to the cows and calves. And because of these pious activities, I have now become the son of a Brahmana." Everybody start laughing. Text 122. "आई छे प्रभु सची घरे, कृपया कईले अवतारे, ये इहा करया श्रवण, गौरा प्रभु दयामय, तंद्रे हयेना सदया, sei payat tanhara charana." Translation in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his causeless mercy, made his advent in the house of Sachidevi. Lord Chaitanya is very merciful to anyone who hears this narration of his birth, and thus such a person attains the lotus feet of the Lord. What a wonderful opportunity that somehow or other Krishna induced me to read this for benefit of all of us. We need that mercy. Text 123. "Paya manusha janma, yena sune gaura guna, hena janma tara vyartha haila. Paya amrut dhuni, piya vis garta pani. Janmiya se kene nahim maila." Translation: anyone who attains a human body but does not take to the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is baffled in his opportunity. Amruta Dhuni is a flowing river of the nectar of devotional service. You know, one of the, I don't want to make her uncomfortable, but she joined every day since she started joining. So I said, may the holy name you always drown in the aesthetic flow of the Harinam. And she feels so good. This is what it happened. When we chant nicely, we feel so blissful that we don't want to stop chanting. So, Amruta Dhuni is a flowing river of the nectar of devotional service. If after getting a human body, one drinks the water in a poison pit of material happiness, instead of water of such a river, it would be better for him not to have lived, but to have died long, long ago. Haribo. Our Acharya has to write, because we are so much attached. We need stronger and stronger message one day that we will realize what a good fortune we have, human form of life. We have our spiritual master, we have the devotee association. And with those all good things, if we cannot finish the job, what is the use of this life? Haribo. So in this connection, Sripad Prabodhanand Saraswati has composed the following verse in his Chaitanya Charitamrita 37, 36 and 34. Ai Chaitanyam idam Viswam yadi Chaitanyam Iswaram na vidu Sarva Shastragna hi api Brahmayanti te janaha. This material world is without consciousness, remember? Haribo. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna conscious personified. Therefore, if a very learned scholar or scientist does not understand Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, certainly he is wandering uselessly in this material world. Prasharita Mahaprema Piyusha Rasa Sagare Chaitanya Chandre Prakateyo Dino Dina Evashaha. A person who does not take advantage of the nectar of devotional service overflowing during the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult is certainly the poorest of the poor. Haribol. Autharine Gaura Chandre Vistarine Prema Sagare Suprakasita Ratnange Yo Dinodina Evasaha. The advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is just like an expanding ocean of nectar. One who does not collect the valuable jewel within this ocean is certainly the poorest of the poor. Haribol. That was the Prabodhanand Saraswati's instructions to us. Similarly, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, Text 19, 20, 23 states as follows. Swavid varahostra kare samstutaha purusha paso nayat karna pathopeto jatu nam gadagraja dile baturo krama vikramaye napsumvatah karna pute narasya jiva sati darduriksh kevasuta Na chopa gayati uru gaya gantha. Jivan chavo bhagvat tarangri renam. Na jatu mrutyo bilabheta yasto. Shri Vishnu padya manujas tulasya swayam chavo yastu naveda gantham. Haribol Gandham. A person who has no connection with Krishna consciousness may be a very great personality in so-called human society, but actually he is no better than a great animal. Our Acharya has to write all these things so we can take up this process one day seriously. Such big animals are generally praised by other animals like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. A person who does not lend his oral receptions to hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered to have ear holes like holes in a field. Although that a person has a tongue, it is like the tongue of a frog, which unnecessarily create a disturbance by croaking, inviting the snake of death. Similarly, a person who neither takes advantage of the dust of the lotus feet of a great devotee, nor smell the tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, must be considered dead, even though he is supposedly working for sense enjoyment. Haribol. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14 states as follows: Nivruta Tarshayir Upagiyaya Manad Bhavushodhak Chotra Mano Bhiramat Ka Uttama Shloka Gunanuvadat Puman Virajyeta Vinapashugana. Who but the animal killer or the killer of the soul? That's what we are. Will not care to hear glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such glorification is enjoyed by a person liberated from the contamination of this material world. Similarly, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 23, 56 says as follows: Na tirtha pada seviyai jivana api mrutyu hisa. Although a person is apparently living, if he does not show the lotus feet of a great devotees, he is to be considered a dead body. By the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and that of his devotees, especially Srila Prabhupada, we have been given real life chance to live in Krishna consciousness. You know, and there is a famous verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. When I read those verses, Naradeham Adyam Sulabham Sudurlabham. Now, last three lines, it will take my memory because I have not revised my memories of the verses, but it starts with that. Look it up. Naradeham Adyam Sulabham Sudurlabham. That after attaining this human form of life, having our spiritual master as the captain of the boat, and the scripture is the favorable wind, still if that boat cannot cross over this ocean of this material existence, we are killing our own soul. That verse is very favorable. I remember that, but I haven't refreshed my inventory of the verses I used to remember. But I remember the meaning, which is nice at least. Text 124. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Acharya Advaita Chandra Swarup Rupa Raghunath Dasa Inha Sabara Sai Charana Sire Vandi Nija Dhana Janma Lila Gaile Krishna Das. translation. Taking on my head as my own property the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. I, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, have thus described the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it is very nice to dwell on those wonderful pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So many nice instructions we can get that how far we have fallen from the standard way of life. That's the way that we can become happy, jubilant, fearless. But we can see that it's everything, our life is totally opposite. And we feel satisfied, even after becoming a devotee, that this life is wonderful. Hardly we go and render some service once a week, donate little money, and feel satisfied, chanting 16 rounds a day. And we feel that my life is successful. We have a long way, brothers and sisters. We have to give everything to attain the love of God. And unless we start beginning somewhere, there is no end of it in this life. And who knows what the next life is ahead of us. We feel insecure, or a lot of the time we feel I don't have enough. And in that journey of making enough material satisfaction and arrangement, we will miss this important boat that Prabhupada has given us to ride out, to cross over this nations of material existence. We need to read those things over and over. So one day those thoughts will sink that yes, we have completely avoid the real culture of humanity. And we have accepted something which is nothing but giving us this suffering in this material world. We are the one who are the creator of all miseries and suffering. Acharya has shown the ways by their practical living examples. Even some devotees we have, Prabhupada has given his followers, sincere devotees, if you stay in a close association, by following in their footsteps. So many times we may say, oh, I would like to get the association of a saintly person. Some people that they never get that much association with Prabhupada. It's not that physical association will give us. It need to be a burning desire in our heart. We should realize that this world is not for us. This world is temporary and full of suffering. And we need to realize that fact. Unless and until we realize those aspects, how we will become serious? When we suffer or something, then we will take some step to become free. But if we don't feel the suffering in this material world, how we are going to become changed? And that's our situation. So we feel satisfied. If you ask any devotee, Prabhu, how are you? I'm fine, Prabhu. Fine in what sense? I don't know. But this is the way, because we have not yet understood our suffering. We forget. When the womb of the mother, we were praying to Krishna, leave me from this suffering. I will whole life I will devote to you. Those were the promise made to Krishna. And still we accumulate more than necessary. Still don't feel satisfied. And this government is really a sucker. They keep on increasing to give you some, like what? There is word is not coming in my mouth. Oh, if you work up to 66, you will get more social security benefit. And you see that as the time go by, they will let you work until you die. And we take those things. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get more social security. Let me work more years. Why don't we retire early? This is something they are throwing us to capture. These people are so smart. It says, I was reading one article that these uh, marketing people, what their motto is, we should tell the people how to live their life. And that's what is happening. They are capturing us so hard. There was 62 years. In India, it was the retirement is 55. I think my brother, they retired at 55, living happily, whatever the money they have. Then, 60, 62, 64. Nowadays, I think 66. You wait for another one more decade. They will say you have to work until 70 to get full benefit of Social Security. And we become attached. Oh, I'm going to get that much more money. I was writing to the one of the devotee who joined late today. And he gave me excuse. Oh, Prabhu, I came back home at 11 p.m. from the festival. So what? Can't you take austerity? What is the use of celebrating Gaur Purnima? You should be so jubilant celebrating that Gaur Purnima that you should be get up by 1 o'clock. What's the problem? And if you cannot maintain your vow, then deliberate. When you go for the late program, you deliberate. Is I'm going to maintain my vow to join and chant my Krishna's name on time? If not, then leave that festival early. Maintain your sadhana and perform some austerity. These are the chances that Krishna is giving you. Personally, they make you light. So you can perform some austerity next morning. This is all the excuses. As I said, we are utilizing only 9% of our ability, what Krishna has given us. 91% we have untouched our ability. And we are just following what the common people are doing. Same thing, no difference. They want to live in a big house, we want to live in a big house. They want to drive a nice car, we want to drive a nice car. All the similarity is following us. And we are feeling we are doing okay. Haribol. And I was just telling, the wait for the time is gonna come that you won't be able to eat even or digest your food. Your body is not gonna function. Your mind will not function. And do you think that you will be able to perform your sadhana? How many years do you think you have? As I was writing, one of the devotees, they didn't join today. How do you know that you are going to see the sunset? Is there any guarantee? There is no guarantee. But we live our life that we pretty sure that I'm going to live my life and I'm going to use every social security money. More money I'm going to get. When you retire, you have no strength to do anything. What that money is going to do to you? Nothing. It's just the figure in the mind in the bank. That's all it is. Why don't you just think that I have $2 billion in my bank account when you think about money? You should be completely satisfied and start spending the money. You will never run short of the money. Become a devotee of Krishna sincerely. There is no worry. All this example is there, right in front of us. But we keep close eyes toward those and we become attracted to this materialistic society that this government has created, which is